It's gonna be a very interesting episode for me. So as a lot of you know, sometimes we'll pick a movie that one of us have seen that the other one has not. And that's the case with this episode. I've seen Surf Ninjas many, many times whenever I was younger. I haven't seen this movie since I was younger, and I wondered to myself, am I still gonna like it? Even when I picked it, I was like 90% sure that you're not gonna like this movie. I was like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I was like 90% sure that you're not. I could be wrong though. I could be completely wrong. You know what they say about people who assume, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking assholes. Anyways, Devin, hit us with some facts and information.
Yup. This is directed by Neil Israel. This stars Ernie Reyes Sr. and Jr., Leslie Nielson and Rob Schneider as well. So when he's playing that game on the Game Gear, it's not the actual, they did make a Surf Ninjas game on the Game Gear, but the one he's playing, like as he's on there, is not the Surf Ninjas game. But it was a game that was developed by Sega.
Really?
They like developed it for the movie so that he could play it on his Game Gear during the movie.
I never knew that, dude.
Yeah.
That's an interesting piece of information.
Also, they helped fund the movie, Sega. Fun part of it, because they knew the Game Gear was on the screen and they made the video game for it. So they helped fund the movie as well.
It's a good way to advertise, I guess.
Yeah, and the Game Gear, it said they were trying to compete with some, I forget what it said, Game Boy maybe?
Yeah, competing with the Game Boy and Game Boy Color.
Dude, the Game Gear's this big, dude.
It takes 6 AA batteries. 6 AA batteries, dude, and it lasts like 2 hours.
Yeah, dude, I was like, they're trying to compete, but that thing is massive.
Oh, it's huge. It
didn't do good at the box office, is why I didn't get sequels, because all the other movies, because this definitely falls into a genre of that time, kind of like the martial arts, kind of surfer culture movies that were during that time, but it didn't perform well, so it didn't get sequels like all those other movies.
Surf Ninjas is a 90s action comedy movie for kids, right? This movie is like a nostalgic comfort food for me. When I watch this movie, it brings me back to my childhood. We'll kind of run through this here because this movie, the plot of this movie is just absurd.
I didn't understand a single thing. I was like, wow. I was like, what is this?
It opens up with two brothers, Johnny and Adam. They're surfers. I'm assuming they're in California. They're adopted. It's their adopted father, and their best friend is over there. His name's Iggy, played by a very young Rob Schneider. And by the way, this is the first movie I think I ever saw Rob Schneider in. And he's kind of like the comic relief. He's kind of a dumb, and he's always trying to be funny and stuff. They're at home. They're eating breakfast. A couple of ninjas show up, but they don't see this happening. A couple of ninjas show up outside their house, and some random dude with an eye patch shows up and beats the ninjas up. It cuts to an island 13,000 miles away, and that's where you get introduced to our villain. Now, dude, this scene was kind of messed up, bro. It cuts to this island, and there's all these people like getting tortured, like strapped to torture devices and like enslaved in cages and stuff.
Yeah.
Hello. Colonel Chi is good. Colonel Chi is wise. Colonel Chi is all-knowing. Colonel Chi will take care of us.
So yeah, Leslie Nielson is the main villain. His name is Colonel Chi, and he's like part. Colonel Chi.
I didn't realize that was his name, dude.
Yeah, Colonel Chi, dude. And he's like got like a half cyborg face and a cyborg arm, which you find out why a little bit later.
He's half cyborg, half man, who dresses like a samurai, but he uses a machine gun as a weapon.
By the way, he wants the boys dead. You find that out pretty early in the movie. He wants the boys dead. Kind of kick off. They're at their family restaurant. A bunch of ninjas show up and surround them, bust in the place. And then the mysterious eye patch man shows up, and then you get to this kind of long fight scene. That's when you find out that their stepdad or their adopted father, Mac, he knows the eye patch man. And you find out that they are both princes for an island called Patusan, some peaceful civilization. And apparently years ago, Colonel Chi showed up and committed a coup and like took over the island and like enslaved the people of the island, and Zatch, who's the eye patch man, he's actually their uncle, the boy's uncle. He whisked them away from the island. And when you see the flashback of Chi taking over the island, you see how he got his half cyborg face. He got stepped on by an elephant, like half his head got crushed by an elephant. There's actually some brutal shit in this movie. Like, people die. They're constantly talking about murdering people. There's people getting tortured. Oh, speaking of chopping dicks off, and I hope you put that in with no context. So they're traveling to the island via ship. They get to the island, they get to the jungle, they go to a local village because they have to find the knives of Kwanzu. And they get to this village and it's been decimated, and like most of the people in the village have been killed.
Yeah, dude, they're like, why'd you leave a few? And he's like, so they could talk about what happened.
Yeah.
But like everyone's like burned and dead.
Yeah, dude.
You're right, this movie is kind of
It
messed up.
is.
But why did he spare that old man and those few others?
So there would be someone left alive to tell.
So they finally get to the island. How they get to the island was kind of silly. So basically they're like, it's heavily fortified from the front, and Adam has a vision where he sees the trees turned into surfboards, and like in less than 30 minutes they carve these trees up and carve a bunch of surfboards, and they surf to the back of the island, and then that's when the final act and the final battle starts. It's just a bunch of soldiers fighting everybody. Then Colonel Chief falls into a body of water and gets electrocuted to death.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death in this movie.
Yeah, dude. I'm still so confused why he was a samurai, half cyborg, half human, but he used a machine gun.
So there's this dude, and he gets knocked down these stairs, and he's just like rolling down these stairs, and then he climbs back up the stairs, and then Johnny kicks him back down the stairs, and he's rolling back down the stairs, and then at the end of the movie when they're celebrating, he climbs to the top of the stairs again, and Johnny's like, dude, you guys lost. And he's like,
Newsflash! Your side lost!
I want to get your honest thoughts on the movie, and so you kind of get it from your perspective.
I didn't see it when I was a kid, so I don't have that nostalgia for it.
Right.
I didn't like it, but I think there's movies like this from that era that I do like.
Yeah.
That kind of surfer culture, extreme sports culture, martial arts culture. Like I like both Ninja Turtles movies. Actually, I like that third one too. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, kind of movies that fall into this. I think there are ones that are better.
Right.
I think there should have been more of the bad dude.
Yes.
Also more surfing.
Yeah.
It's called Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't have a lot.
Right at the beginning, there's like a 30-second opening, and then where they go to that island.
Surf Ninjas is like a nostalgic, guilty pleasure, comfort movie for me. But overall, Surf Ninjas for me is a keep it, just because it is a movie that I grew up with and a movie that is very nostalgic. All right, folks, that is it for tonight's episode of VHS Voyage on Surf Ninjas. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
See y'all next week.